There's lots of talk at the moment about trauma. Don't let trauma take you out. How do you know if you've gone through a traumatic experience? I think the first thing to recognise is that a traumatic experience is different for everybody. What would traumatise me and traumatise somebody else is entirely different things. Why? Because we both have different backgrounds. I don't do very well with medical things because as a small child I was hospitalised, I think 8 times in the first 4 years of my life or something like that. Therefore, to me, anything medical can be quite traumatic. They've even found me fainted in a hospital ward when I was hospital visiting someone because someone showed me their open heart surgery wound. So things can be traumatic to you that may not be traumatic to somebody else. So don't judge what you've gone through to whether it's trauma or not. It's how you feel about that thing, that incident, that actually depicts whether it's trauma or not, and whether you maybe experience PTSD, post-traumatic stress, from that episode. One of the ways to know that if you're in trauma is the brain actually does obviously different things in trauma than it does in normal circumstances. One of the things the brain does in trauma, it will either go into flight mode, to fight mode, or to freeze mode. And so if you feel that in certain areas of your life you're fighting, you're always angry about something, or you're freezing, you're quite numb in some areas of your life, or maybe you're very, very distant, your flight, perhaps there has been trauma in your life. It's something to look at. A trauma memory is a little different to other memories in our life. So a trauma memory, there is no end to that. So a normal memory, there's a beginning and there's an end. But a trauma memory, you haven't really pieced all the pieces together. So it's still quite an unfinished puzzle somewhere back there in your mind, which is why it still traumatizes you. So the actual trauma memory has no ending or beginning. I'll explain it to you with a little story that happened to us many years ago. We went to visit Europe. We were driving along in a car, just somewhere in the country in England, and there was a small car in front of us. We come to a roundabout, and just completely out of the blue, from my right-hand side, came this, I call him a robber, but my husband says it mightn't have been a robber, but it was obviously a man that had committed a crime, and he came running across the road and tried to get into this small car that was in front of us. Just as he was ripping open the door to get into this small car to obviously try and get the driver out of the car to take over the car, the police come running and tried to rip him away from the car. This all happened very, very, very quickly, out of the blue, totally out of the blue. So I suppose what I'm saying here is this is exactly what happens with trauma. It comes completely when you're not expecting it, completely out of the blue. It just blindsides you. I didn't even see this fellow come. I didn't even see the police come. I don't even know where they come from. We were just enjoying the scenery. The next minute, bang, they were in front of our face. And this can be exactly what happens in trauma, even if it is like, a death that you've known that's going to happen for a while. The actual trauma of that person dying comes completely out of the blue for you. And as an overthinker, when I saw this situation, I thought, lock your doors, make sure your doors are locked. And sometimes what we can do in our life is we think, I'm going to actually put all these things in place so that trauma can never come into my life. And even if I look back to that situation, that man could still have smashed through that window and could still have got into that car. So we can never avoid trauma, and we don't have to try and keep putting up barriers to be able to try and avoid trauma, but we can overcome it. There's a really high percentage at the moment that they're saying that mental illnesses, it's even over 90% of most mental illnesses, most mental health problems can be treated and are only seasonal. And so we can overcome trauma. And today I'm not going to go into a lot of detail how we can overcome trauma, but I just want us to realize that, one, are we in it? Maybe we can look at some, things like the flight, the freeze, the numbness, the anger. Is there something there that's not quite right in our lives? And can we, perhaps remember a time that might have been traumatic that caused that, or you may not even been able to remember the trauma. Look at what are triggers of that trauma, and more importantly, if you can't find a beginning and an end to that traumatic experience, then seek help. Seek a professional that you can sit down with and you can actually put some meaning, some beginning and an end to that trauma so that you can overcome it. Let's overcome trauma. Until next time, bless you.